Good morning, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining me this morning. Today, I would like to talk about criminal investigation. Criminal investigation is a systematic process used by law enforcement to uncover the truth about a crime, identify the perpetrator, and of course, collect evidences to present it to the prosecution for a successful prosecution. It involves a lot of things, including forensic analysis, collecting other evidences from the crime scene, utilizing the surveillance footage, and interviewing victims, victim families, friends, and bystanders to ensure that they are in a way for a successful prosecution. So when it comes to any kind of criminal investigation, we're speaking about the investigators are responsible for identifying to the identification of the crime. They have to ensure that a crime is indeed taken place before they can go to the next phase, which is the identification of the perpetrator. They have to ensure that they are able to identify the perpetrator by using different means, including the interviewing of people such as the victims, the bystanders, and the relatives and the friends of the victims, and accessing surveillance camera, and of course, then they will go to the next phase, which is the collection of the evidences. The evidences have to be collected in such a way that it can be validated at the during the trial by the prosecutors, so that it will stand for a successful prosecution. And finally, these evidences have to be presented to the prosecution and the jury so that they can validate further down the line for a successful prosecution. It is not a guarantee that almost always these presented evidences will be stand for a successful prosecution. Sometimes, because of the lack of evidences presented, can result in unsuccessful prosecution, and yet these investigators can reenact the prosecution if they want to, upon getting other evidences such as DNA analysis and other forensic means. There are four different, when it comes to murder is taken very seriously in this country. Murder is a premeditated or intentional act to kill somebody. So it is premeditated. It is punishable. It is a felony in the first. It could be in the first degree, second degree, or third degree, depending on the severity, depending on how the act was conducted, and it can be punishable from 20 to 100 years in prison or in life. And four manners of death. Natural death. Natural death occurs as a result of natural means, such as a body organ failure or age-related death. Homicide. Homicide is considered premeditated, and it is a felony. And accidental death happen all the time in our country due to motor vehicle accidents and poisoning. These are considered accidental death. And of course, if you want to consider suicide, suicide is considered self-inflicted by a person to cause his own death. It is not a crime, but it is a death. So when we talk about criminal investigation, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about these officers equipped with high education, training, and experiences to conduct investigation activities to ensure that their efforts will end up in a successful prosecution. These officers are considered very efficient, and they have the capability to conduct investigation completely and thoroughly and comprehensively. Evidence analysis is very important when it comes to any kind of criminal investigation. Evidences are the one that will stand in the way of a successful prosecution. If valid evidences are not presented, then of course we are not going to have a successful prosecution. A lot of people get away from their crimes, from their committed crimes, as a result of the investigators having lack of evidence or not enough evidence. Sometimes perpetrators can obstruct investigation, and they can remove the evidence from the crime scene. A lot of times they do that, but sometimes they can be successful. A lot of times they are not going to be able to. I would like to also focus on sexual misconduct laws in the state of Texas. Any kind of sexual assault is taken very seriously in the state of Texas because it poses a major risk to our society, and it creates unwanted circumstances for anybody, and it is nearly difficult for anybody to go through a sexual assault. Sexual assault can be categorized into four main categories. Aggravated sexual assault, indecency to a child, abetment of sexual assault. Sexual assault, just as the name implies, it is the purposeful act of sexual activity on a person. It is a non-consensual act, and it is considered a felony. Aggravated sexual assault is done using a weapon, or it is also considered the exploitation of the vulnerability of the subject. Indecency to a child is also taken very seriously in this country. It is characterized by exposure of someone's genital to the person, or purposefully weaponizing the person to conduct a sexual activity for gratification. When it comes to abetment of sexual activity, it is somebody that has the purposefully engaging an activity in terms of weaponizing somebody to conduct a sexual activity on behalf of them. In other words, that if a person thinks that he wants to conduct sexual assault on somebody else, he can use somebody to make that happen. That is the abetment. Somebody abetting a person to make that happen for himself. It may be for harassment, intimidation, self-gratification, or whatever it is. That is called abetment of sexual activity. I also want to talk about pornography. Pornography is legal in the state of Texas as long as it does not involve minors. Anytime a minor who is under the age of 17 years is involved, it is considered illegal. Millions of pornographic websites out there that provide contents that to satisfy the people that are interested, as long as they promote an age verification requirement. These websites are supposed to provide you with age verification before you can access these contents online, and it is legal for people to access pornographic contents online through various websites. It is not a good idea for people to do that because it can create a lot of unwanted problems in our lives. It can drive us to a totally different world where we can end up in having social stigma, and of course it will definitely stand in the way of an unproductive life. You must refrain yourself from engaging in these activities, not only for reasons that you will end up in legal troubles, but it is also, it is for you to ensure that you have a good life. And if you are leading a family life, you must always refrain from these types of activities. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this country, as you all know, that we have a lot of people that are incarcerated due to sexual crimes. Sexual crimes are considered to be very heinous, and it must be stopped. And I ask our law enforcement officers to ensure that you are able to pinpoint these individuals that are in their way to commit these types of heinous crimes, or to ensure that you are able to identify individuals that are responsible for these types of crimes that they have committed. We have reactive and reactive crimes. Reactive crimes take place, reactive investigation takes place after a crime is committed, as opposed to the investigation that takes place after the crime is committed. We also want to include some of the things that are very important to talk about. Crimes are different kinds, by all means. It is not just merely anytime you are involved in an unlawful activity, it is considered a crime. So, for example, you kill somebody using a gun. I mean, it's still a murder, but you're using a different method. You can kill a person with a machete, or you can kill a person with a club. You can kill a person with a fist. These are considered to be murder, but through different means. There are premeditated crimes, as we explained before, and involuntary and non-involuntary. And these are taken very seriously by law enforcement in our country. And therefore, if you have any plans, or if you have conducted, if you are hiding out from the law enforcement, they will come and find you. There is no question about that. And if you think that you have been successful to elude the police, that is not going to be the case anymore, because they are going to conduct it. They are on the lookout for opportunities to pinpoint individuals that can conduct these kinds of crimes. And there are a lot of people incarcerated that may be considered innocent because of the advancement of DNA analysis. We can definitely exonerate some of these people. That is a true fact. But at the same time, we can convict, we can prosecute criminals that got away from crimes in the past. There are some people out there maybe hiding away, or just who are considered to be turned away from prosecution. Those are the people that we need to bring to a prosecution. It's very important that we engage in activities to ensure that these people are brought to justice. And it is time for the FBI and the U.S. Marshals to be engaged in actions which will promote freedom and justice for this country. In other words, that it is your responsibility to bring the perpetrators of crime to justice. Nobody is above the law, and therefore everyone who is responsible for committing an illegal activity to be brought to justice in a timely fashion. There are a lot of people out there that think that they can get away from the crimes that they have committed. It is time for us to send them a strong message that they are not immune to have that peace and tranquility, but rather they are indeed subject to criminal prosecution. And that is exactly what we want to do. Ladies and gentlemen, in this country, we take the laws very seriously. And if you are a victim, you can definitely access information from your local law enforcement, such as your local police department or the FBI, or you can definitely call the Crime Stoppers toll-free number, access more information, and to see how you can report a crime. These are very important. It is not only for you, it is also for the others. There are a lot of people on the other side suffering from these types of activities. Some people are not able to speak up for various reasons because of their social status, because of them not knowing the outcome. So these people have to be encouraged so that they can report crimes. Don't be afraid. Report crimes if you have to, and always make sure that you report any suspicious activities that you see. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much once again. Thank you. That's all the time I have.